Hi there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're looking into the HX-Oddy, which basically is not what you think it is. What I mean by that is that you see Oddy, okay, it's the ARP Odyssey. Yes, but no. It's a virtual recreation of a synthesizer that does sound like the Odyssey from ARP, but it's not. It doesn't try to recreate the same feeling, the same interface, the same features. It is like everything that UVI does, they sample the heck out of the original device. They make great raw sound samples they can play with. They record a ton of it. And then they program in a very cool way these into the workstation, the free playback software, or inside Falcon, their massive main soft sampler synthesizer that they have. And it gives you the attitude and the sound of the Odyssey. In this case, it is a synth by itself with raw samples that are really cool from a cool vintage synthesizer. I'll do two videos about it. One, basically a review of what it can do and the sound and just listen to it. And the other one will be a deep tour of all the features, because if you step a bit back and say, this is not just a sound bank. It is actually, yes, a really cool sound bank, but it's a synth that has a lot of creation or synthesis features in it that you can start, of course, with the preset, but you can do so much more with this. So let's start right away with the review and a quick tour of what it is. You have 4 different windows. The main is basically just the look of the original synth that they sampled from. You got controls at the bottom here, macros. You can assign 2 knobs on your favorite synthesizer controller, MIDI controller, whatsoever, and you could control these. And these will change depending on the preset that you load in. Now, if you go into edit, you're starting to do your own synthesis. And the layout is pretty logical and efficient. You've got oscillators where you have 2 oscillators you can control, modify the information. You got the amplifier and all that stuff. You got the mixer. You got also samples, and then you can control about the sample control. You have oscillator filter here, and you get the sample filter. So you're basically having 2 layers to play with: the oscillators layer and the sample layer. So this is how it works. At the bottom, you get modulation and step modulation here. So you can all control that into all these parameters. You then have another panel, which is the effect panel: delay, reverb, derive, chorus, flanger, EQ, and maximizer. So a lot of stuff you can play with. And you have the arpeggiator section. Click to enable. And then you've got an arpeggiator. If you ever played with anything that UVI did in the past, you know this type of approach. The look changes a little bit every time, but this is basically a really powerful arpeggiator with different presets you can load in, and then you can draw whatever you want on top of it. So very simple, very efficient, and you can assign it to oscillators or the sample. So this is basically what you have. It's a hybrid synthesizer / sample. It's actually using wavetable. That's the wavetable oscillators that you have here. The one here. And you can play with the shape and all that stuff. And you have the samples that are from the original synthesizer, Odyssey. Then you've got some control about how many voices, the bend, the polyphony, mode, portamento, mono, retrigger. So general stuff the way you want to play back. But what brings it into why you would like to have it is, by default, UVI is a master in making cool sound to play with. It's using the arpeggiator. Just one key. So this is basically you're playing patterns. And as you're going up the keys, it will follow it. So by just playing two keys, you have this rhythm right away. That's pretty cool. See, it just sounds nice. A bunch of them. And if you do a little bit of editing, easily just send an LFO to this and slow down the LFO 1. Sounds really cool. If you go into the arpeggiators now, the arpeggiated sound, the notes are here. See, now the oscillator is having the arpeggiator, but the sample is not. So that's why we can play these separately. Then you go into bass. That sounds really nice. I'm in the leads now. Now, something you need to verify or something you need to understand is that when I click here, I've got access to these. These are presets, and you see that when I switch between them, it's really quick. So it's like on any synthesizer, just like there's no light. There's a little time of loading, but that's very minimal. If you click here at the top here, then you get into the same list. Say bass, lead, electric well. When you double click on it, it loads the whole thing. So basically, when you load it here, you should just load it once. It loads all the samples in it. Everything's in memory. And then you basically just can switch here and it's quick. So don't go that here anymore. Stay in the synth itself and you can just load it. You can just easily play it. And then if you click here, you see, it loads back the 268 groups. Loads back to, so it's just you're losing time for nothing. Because it's already all loaded here. You're just changing the parameters. The last one here that you select with the patch book, they're basically samples right away here. The ARP patch book. So the original patch book that when you bought the synth, you had a book that says, this is how you make these sounds. They're here. They sample those. All these classics are here. Then I'm in the sample now, and then you click here and you have all of these samples that they created on top of that. So this is just the sample you play with. Remember that these now have access to everything and they become part of a synthesizer. That's going to be in the next video if you want to dive deep inside the synthesis. Next one's going to be for you, and we're just going to go through all of, how does it work? I like the sound of this thing. It sounds really nice. It can be super smooth and clean and nice and icy. And then it can be warm and big and fat. And it can be in your face, distorted. And I like the fact that it doesn't try just to imitate the original Odyssey. It is sampled from it. So you got the sound, the raw, I'd say, attitude and sound of it. But it has a different feel because you have a lot of other features and other controls here that wasn't there. So I see it like it's another synth altogether, but using the samples as a starting point. Pretty cool. Pretty damn fun. See the other video? If not, stay safe, play more music, and see you soon. Cheers.